Don't buy a rental property until you understand what tenancy options you have in Alberta. If you're gearing up to invest in Alberta's property market, it's crucial to get a grip on the different tenancy types in this province and how they can impact you as a landlord. Alberta really offers 2 tenancy options, each with its own pros and cons. So the first one is a fixed term tenancy. So a fixed term tenancy comes with very specific start and end dates, and it provides stability for both the renter and the landlord. So the pros of a fixed term tenancy are it has a very clear rental period, a consistent income, and predictable end date. All right, so going over the cons, limited flexibility to an end date. So unless both parties mutually agree to end that contract, and even if the landlord chooses to sell, the next buyer would have to assume that contract and that tenant. Next, no notice required. So once a fixed term tenancy ends, there is no notice required on that date, on that last date. That is the last day of tenancy. No notice is required by the landlord or the renter. Now going over the pros and cons of periodic tenancy. So firstly, the pros, flexibility. As a landlord, I want to have that flexibility. If I choose to sell that property, or if I need to sell that property, I can give notice. It's a lot easier than if I'm in a fixed term tenancy. Next, I still have the potential if I want to switch to a fixed term with enough notice. Lastly, the rent adjustments. Thankfully in Alberta, we do not have rent control, so you can give your periodic tenancy renter notice, 90 days notice or 3 months full notice, that you are going to be raising the rents. So you have that flexibility as interest rates increase and as the market increases. In this kind of rental market, periodic tenancy, there aren't very many cons. The only one would maybe be the rental income uncertainty, because the renter only needs to give you about 30 days or 1 periodic month, 1 month of notice. We need to give them 90. Maybe your place is empty for a week or 2, maybe a month, worst case. But in a market like this, there aren't very many cons. Here are a few landlord tips that we wanted to give. The first one is tenant selection, probably one of the most important ones. We need to screen tenants fairly. Always, always, always check for references. I'd rather rent my place to someone that I've fully vetted and rent under market value than try and get top dollar and get someone in that's going to destroy my place. The next one is lease agreements. We need to be drafting comprehensive agreements outlining terms, rules, conditions. Have a lawyer review it. We need to make sure that we're still following Alberta Tenancy Act rules, and also that we're protecting our biggest asset. So maintenance and repairs. Timely maintenance keeps tenants happy and properties in good shape. Make sure that the contract identifies who maintains and repairs what before anybody moves in. So we need to be familiar with our notice periods as well. So generally in Alberta, we need to give 24-hour notice. We can access it for various reasons, like inspections, repairs, or showing other potential buyers or renters. Again, we should be giving that renter minimum 24-hour notice. We should be putting in writing, and we should be putting the purpose of the entry, the date, the time, and when the entry is going to occur. All right, security deposits. This is where we see a lot of mistakes. I always try and get at least 2 months just in case they skip out on the last month or there's significant damages. Don't agree to less, because if there are any damages or issues at the time of move out, it's going to be a lot harder for you to collect your money. The move in and out checklist is missed 90% of the time, but it's probably the most important document that you could have as the renter and the landlord. The checklist provides a detailed record of the property's condition, including any existing damage, wear and tear, or cleanliness issues. I like to also go through with my camera and videotape the entire place. I send it to the renter just to make sure we both have a recorded copy. This document definitely helps avoid any disagreements at the end of the tenancy regarding who's responsible for any of the damages or the condition that the home was in prior to the rental. If you guys have any questions or specific topics you'd like us to cover next, make sure to comment below.